Tyler Brennan. The CEO's 25-year-old son storms into my cubicle at Meridian Defense Systems, screaming that I'm fired for insubordination and corporate disloyalty. He demands my company laptop immediately. I calmly hand it over, saying, "Sure, but check the bottom sticker." He peels it off and reads aloud, "Property of NSA classified system, unauthorized possession, punishable under Federal Code, 18-793. His face drains white as security alarms begin blaring throughout the building. 6 months earlier, I walked through the glass doors of Meridian Defense Systems for my first day as Senior Data Analyst. My name is Patsy. I'm 32 years old, and after 8 years in Army intelligence, followed by an honorable discharge, I thought I'd found the perfect civilian job analyzing defense contracts. The Denver headquarters building gleamed with polished marble floors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Rocky Mountains, but what I didn't expect was meeting Tyler Brennan within my first hour. The kid strutted around the office like he owned the place, which technically he would someday. CEO Robert Brennan had built Meridian from a small consulting firm into a major defense contractor worth $200 million, employing over 800 people across 12 states. Tyler acted like every employee owed him personal allegiance, interrupting important client meetings, overriding critical project decisions, and treating senior staff like his personal servants who existed solely for his convenience. But Tyler didn't know about my real assignment. My NSA laptop wasn't just standard company equipment issued to data analysts. I was a contract liaison officially hired as a senior data analyst, but actually monitoring Meridian's classified defense projects for potential security breaches, financial irregularities, and foreign penetration attempts. My top-secret clearance and extensive military intelligence background made me perfect for identifying suspicious activities in contractor operations without arousing suspicion from potential bad actors. The red flags started appearing within my first month of careful observation. Project budgets didn't match actual expenditure reports by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Classified file access logs showed unauthorized downloads during off hours when the building should have been empty. Financial transfers appeared in offshore accounts that shouldn't exist, according to company financial policies. When I asked Tyler direct questions about missing documentation during routine project meetings, his responses were consistently evasive and increasingly hostile toward my legitimate inquiries. Through my specialized NSA laptop, equipped with advanced monitoring software, I documented every suspicious transaction conversation and security protocol violation in real time. Tyler had been systematically selling proprietary defense software to unauthorized foreign buyers for 18 months before my arrival at Meridian. The evidence was absolutely staggering: modified drone control systems worth millions in development costs, encrypted military communication protocols, advanced radar detection technology, all finding their way to hostile foreign entities through an extensive international network Tyler had established using his father's legitimate business connections and reputation. My attempts to report serious concerns through official company channels were mysteriously blocked at every turn by people I'd initially trusted. HR Director Janet Walsh consistently claimed my security access requests were pending executive review for weeks at a time. ET Security Chief Marcus Rivera insisted that missing classified files were routine system updates that didn't require documentation. Project lead Dr. Susan Chen suddenly became completely unavailable whenever I attempted to schedule meetings about significant budget discrepancies that affected project timelines. Each passing day brought increasingly disturbing discoveries about the scope of Tyler's criminal enterprise. Tyler's personal bank accounts showed cash deposits totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars with absolutely no legitimate business source. His luxury sports car, expensive diamond watch, and frequent gambling trips to Las Vegas casinos far exceeded his official company salary by enormous margins. Most troubling, classified submarine navigation systems containing sensitive military technology had been illegally copied to external storage drives 3 weeks before my hiring, suggesting Tyler knew additional oversight was coming. The laptop recorded everything automatically through sophisticated NSA monitoring protocols. Every conversation, every unauthorized file transfer, Every security protocol violation was transmitted to federal intelligence servers in real time without Tyler's knowledge. Tyler thought he was dealing with a regular corporate employee asking inconvenient but routine questions about project management. He had absolutely no idea he was confessing detailed information about his extensive criminal activities directly to federal intelligence agents who were building an airtight legal case against him. What made everything exponentially worse was watching Tyler systematically manipulate his trusting father over months of careful observation. Robert Brennan seemed genuinely committed to supporting American defense capabilities and protecting national security interests, but Tyler ruthlessly exploited that patriotic dedication for massive personal profit. The older man trusted his son completely and unconditionally, never suspecting the devastating betrayal happening under his own roof while he focused on legitimate business operations. By my 6th month of intensive investigation, I had documented a massive conspiracy involving 12 different defense contractors across 8 states, coordinated through Tyler's sophisticated network of foreign contacts and domestic accomplices. Tyler wasn't just a spoiled rich kid making occasional bad decisions for quick money. He was running a highly sophisticated espionage operation that directly threatened American national security on multiple fronts. The comprehensive evidence stored on my laptop could put him in federal prison for life under the Espionage Act. That's when Tyler finally decided I was becoming too dangerous to keep around any longer. His escalating paranoia about my questions and investigation had reached a breaking point where he felt elimination was his only option. But what Tyler didn't realize was that confiscating my laptop would automatically trigger comprehensive federal protocols he couldn't possibly understand or anticipate. The moment he touched classified federal property, every major agency in the American intelligence community would know exactly where to find him and his entire criminal network. The piercing security alarms echoing throughout the Meridian building weren't some random mechanical malfunction or routine fire drill. My NSA laptop had activated sophisticated emergency protocols the precise instant Tyler's fingerprints made contact with the advanced biometric scanner embedded in the device. Within exactly 90 seconds, encrypted emergency alerts reached 17 different federal agencies simultaneously across Washington, D.C., triggering an immediate national security response. Tyler stood completely frozen in my small cubicle, still holding irrefutable evidence of what federal investigators would later classify as the largest defense contractor security breach in over 20 years. I calmly reached for my secure encrypted phone and immediately contacted Agent David Park, my designated handler at NSA headquarters in Maryland. "Package compromised emergency protocols now active," I said quietly while Tyler screamed frantically at confused building security personnel about supposed false alarms that were disrupting his important business activities. Agent Park's immediate response sent chills down my spine. "Patsy, we've been carefully tracking Brennan's entire network for 8 months. You just handed us everything we need for federal prosecution." The comprehensive federal investigation that followed revealed horrors far beyond my worst fears and suspicions. Robert Brennan wasn't an innocent victim of his son's reckless schemes, as I'd initially hoped. The father-son duo had been systematically selling highly classified military technology to hostile foreign intelligence services for 3 complete years, generating enormous profits while compromising American national security on an unprecedented scale. Tyler's gambling addiction and increasingly lavish lifestyle were merely surface problems hiding a much darker and more dangerous international criminal operation. Advanced financial forensics conducted by federal investigators showed exactly $47 million in foreign payments carefully routed through sophisticated shell companies in 12 different countries across 4 continents. The Brennans had sold advanced drone technology directly to international terrorist organizations, detailed submarine construction plans to hostile foreign nations, and precision missile guidance systems to illegal arms dealers operating in active war zones. American soldiers were literally dying overseas because foreign enemies had purchased our most sensitive military secrets through Tyler's network. But Tyler's extensive espionage operation reached far beyond Meridian Defense Systems into the broader defense contracting community. Janet Walsh had been systematically facilitating security clearance fraud for years, creating completely fabricated background histories for foreign operatives seeking unauthorized access to classified American projects. Marcus Rivera had been deliberately disabling critical security protocols throughout the computer network, allowing unauthorized foreign personnel to download sensitive classified information without any detection by legitimate security systems. The corruption and betrayal reached every organizational level of what appeared to be a respectable American company. My covert recordings, made possible by advanced NSA surveillance technology, captured Tyler explicitly bragging about his supposedly untouchable family connections during secret meetings with foreign buyers in expensive restaurants and private clubs. He'd convinced himself that extensive political relationships and family wealth would ultimately protect him from any serious prosecution or consequences. What Tyler completely failed to understand was that selling military secrets wasn't a typical white-collar financial crime that wealthy families could influence away through political connections and expensive legal representation. The evidence systematically revealed that Tyler's foreign contacts included experienced operatives from multiple hostile intelligence agencies actively planning direct military attacks on American installations overseas and domestically. The classified information he'd sold contained detailed security protocols for major naval bases, strategic Air Force installations, and sensitive nuclear facilities across the United States. Enemy agents were using Tyler's illegally obtained intelligence to plan sophisticated operations specifically designed to kill American service members and compromise critical national infrastructure. Agent Park's specialized investigative team discovered that 5 other NSA contractors working at different companies had mysteriously disappeared or died under highly suspicious circumstances over the past 18 months. Linda Foster, a dedicated contractor at North Point Defense in Texas, had suffered a fatal automobile accident exactly 3 days after reporting suspicious financial transfers to federal authorities. 2 additional contractors had been found dead from apparent suicides, but detailed forensic evidence strongly suggested they were actually professional assassinations designed to eliminate potential witnesses. My laptop's automatic encryption capabilities and real-time evidence transmission had literally saved my life and preserved years of crucial criminal evidence that would be essential for federal prosecution. But Tyler's panicked emergency phone calls to his foreign contacts were triggering increasingly desperate responses from international criminals who understood that American intelligence agencies were rapidly closing in on their extensive operations worldwide. Carlos Mendez, Tyler's primary foreign contact, operating from an elaborate front company in Panama City, immediately began liquidating substantial assets and preparing to flee permanently to countries without extradition treaties. Intercepted communications revealed detailed plans to systematically eliminate all remaining witnesses, including me, before disappearing permanently with stolen classified information. Tyler wasn't just a simple traitor. He was actively working with professional international killers who viewed murder as a routine business expense necessary for protecting their lucrative criminal investments. The scope of this betrayal was absolutely staggering to federal investigators. 12 major defense companies across America had been systematically infiltrated by Tyler's sophisticated network over multiple years. Hundreds of classified military projects representing decades of research and development had been completely compromised. Foreign intelligence services possessed American military secrets that normally took decades and billions of taxpayer dollars to develop through legitimate research programs. But the most devastating revelation emerged when Agent Park showed me intercepted communications, definitively proving Tyler's foreign buyers weren't just collecting intelligence for potential future use. They were actively planning imminent attacks on American targets, using the specific classified information Tyler had provided to them. My investigation hadn't just exposed a dangerous spy ring, it had potentially prevented acts of war against my own country and saved countless American lives from foreign attacks. Advanced satellite technology that Tyler had illegally sold was already being used to track American naval movements throughout the Pacific Ocean, compromising ongoing military operations. Encrypted communication systems were helping enemy forces coordinate sophisticated attacks against our international allies. Most shocking, detailed nuclear facility security protocols had been sold directly to known terrorist organizations that were actively planning coordinated attacks on American soil designed to cause mass casualties. Exactly 24 hours after Tyler had confiscated my NSA laptop in his moment of panic, I returned home to my modest apartment to find the front door hanging completely open and all my personal belongings scattered chaotically across every room. Every file cabinet had been systematically emptied, every desk drawer thoroughly ransacked, every possible hiding place carefully searched by people who clearly knew what they were looking for. These were obviously professional burglars with extensive experience who had been specifically looking for backup evidence that could potentially corroborate my detailed NSA reports about Tyler's criminal activities. The anonymous, threatening phone calls started that very same evening around 9 o'clock. Electronically disguised voices warned me to disappear permanently if you truly value your life and want to protect your family. They demonstrated detailed knowledge of my daily schedule, my favorite coffee shop downtown, my sister's home address in Phoenix, and even my elderly parents' retirement community in Florida. These weren't random, desperate threats from amateur criminals. They came from people with extensive professional surveillance resources and detailed personal information about my entire extended family, gathered through sophisticated intelligence operations. 2 days later, during what should have been routine maintenance, my trusted mechanic discovered that my car's brake lines had been deliberately cut with precision tools. I discovered this potentially fatal sabotage purely by chance when he performed scheduled maintenance and immediately noticed fresh tool marks on the hydraulic brake system that hadn't been there during my previous visit. The assassination attempt was clearly professional and nearly fatal. Complete brake failure would have sent me over the steep mountain road I drove home each evening, making my death appear like a tragic accident to investigators. Agent Park immediately arranged comprehensive protective surveillance, but I quickly learned through classified briefings that Tyler had hired private military contractors with extensive combat experience to systematically eliminate all potential witnesses. Brad Hutchinson, a former Special Forces operative who had turned to mercenary work, was coordinating a team of experienced professional killers using Tyler's substantial family wealth to fund their dangerous operations. These weren't desperate street criminals making amateur moves. They were highly trained professional soldiers with advanced military skills who were trained to kill efficiently and escape detection by law enforcement. Meanwhile, Robert Brennan was systematically using his extensive political connections and substantial company resources to completely destroy my personal credibility with federal investigators. False accusations began appearing in my official personnel file, suggesting serious mental instability, desperate financial problems, and suspicious, undisclosed foreign contacts that raised questions about my loyalty. The sophisticated smear campaign was clearly designed to discredit any testimony I might provide to federal investigators and juries. My former military colleagues from Army intelligence suddenly stopped returning my phone calls after receiving anonymous warnings about the serious risks of associating with someone under active federal investigation for potential treason. Former Army buddies who'd served alongside me during dangerous deployments in Afghanistan now claimed they'd never heard of me when contacted by mutual friends. The systematic isolation was emotionally devastating. People who'd literally risked their lives alongside me in combat now feared even acknowledging our shared military history and friendship. Financial warfare accompanied the escalating physical threats against my safety. My bank accounts were frozen through false federal investigations, claiming suspicious foreign transactions that didn't actually exist. Credit cards were abruptly canceled without any explanation or appeal process. My mortgage company demanded immediate full payment based on completely fabricated security concerns about my employment status. Tyler's extensive network was systematically using financial pressure to force me into complete desperation and financial ruin. Agent Park arranged a secure safe house in rural Virginia, but within exactly 48 hours of my arrival, heavily armed intruders attempted to breach the supposedly secure location during the middle of the night. We barely escaped through a carefully pre-planned emergency route, but the sophisticated attack proved conclusively that Tyler's network had gained access to highly classified federal protection protocols. Someone within the American government was actively providing detailed information to help foreign operatives locate and eliminate protected witnesses. Evidence emerged that Tyler was desperately accelerating his final intelligence sales before federal authorities could prevent the remaining transactions and seize his assets. Classified information about upcoming military operations was being sold to foreign buyers at emergency discount rates far below normal market prices. Tyler clearly understood that his extensive network was rapidly collapsing and wanted to extract maximum profit before fleeing the country permanently with his remaining stolen assets. The discovery of a detailed professional hit list containing my name and 5 other NSA contractors was the absolute breaking point that forced federal authorities to take extreme protective measures. Maria Santos, who operated our supposedly secure safe house, found detailed surveillance photographs and comprehensive personal information about federal witnesses hidden in a burned vehicle that had been abandoned near her remote property. The systematic assassination plans were methodical, thorough, and terrifyingly professional in their scope and preparation. But the most shocking and personally devastating revelation came during a staged meeting at a remote location where Tyler's hired killers attempted to systematically eliminate both Agent Park and me in what was designed to appear like a random crime. As automatic gunfire erupted all around us, I recognized the team leader as someone I had believed was dead for over 5 years. Brad Hutchinson had been my commanding officer during combat operations in Afghanistan. Brad had supposedly died in a roadside bomb explosion that killed 3 other brave soldiers in my unit during a routine patrol mission. But there he was, very much alive and pointing a military rifle directly at my head while calmly explaining how faking his own death had allowed him to establish a highly lucrative mercenary operation using advanced military training to serve the highest bidder, regardless of their intentions or nationality. The betrayal was intensely personal and emotionally devastating beyond description. This man had literally saved my life during multiple combat operations, taught me advanced intelligence techniques that kept me alive and earned my absolute trust and respect through years of dangerous service together. Now he was being paid substantial amounts of money to murder me by the same international criminals I was trying to stop from harming other American soldiers and innocent civilians. During the intense firefight, Brad revealed that Tyler's network had been actively recruiting former military personnel for several years, specifically targeting experienced soldiers with serious financial problems or deep grievances against the federal government. The mercenary operation included dozens of experienced combat veterans who'd been systematically convinced that selling their specialized skills to foreign buyers was justified by inadequate veteran benefits and government neglect of military families. The attempted assassination in rural Virginia triggered a massive federal response that instantly transformed my case from a routine counterintelligence investigation into a declared national security crisis of the highest priority. Within exactly 6 hours, the NSA launched comprehensive coordinated operations involving the FBI, CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, Homeland Security, and military intelligence. Tyler's extensive network had essentially declared war on the United States government and needed to be treated as an active military threat. Agent Park arranged immediate federal witness protection with a completely new identity and emergency relocation to a maximum security facility over 300 miles from my original location. But comprehensive protection came with complete isolation from normal life, absolutely no contact with family, friends, or anyone from my previous existence. The federal government was successfully keeping me alive, but simultaneously erasing my entire existence in the process of protecting me from assassination. Federal raids on Meridian Defense Systems and 11 other compromised companies occurred simultaneously across 8 different states in a carefully coordinated operation. Hundreds of federal agents executed detailed search warrants, seized computer servers containing classified information, and arrested dozens of employees directly involved in Tyler's extensive espionage network. The coordination was absolutely flawless and devastating to the international criminal organization that had operated undetected for years. Advanced financial investigators systematically traced Tyler's foreign accounts through complex international banking systems, discovering sophisticated money laundering operations in Panama, Switzerland, Cyprus, and the Cayman Islands that had processed millions of dollars. The detailed paper trail revealed payments for classified submarine plans worth $15 million, advanced missile guidance systems sold for $8 million, and nuclear facility blueprints that brought $12 million from hostile foreign intelligence services. Congressional hearings launched immediately as senators demanded comprehensive explanations for systematic oversight failures that had allowed such extensive penetration of American defense contractors by foreign intelligence services. The media explosion was unprecedented in scope. My case became front-page news nationally and internationally, though my specific identity remained strictly classified as an unnamed government whistleblower for security reasons. Tyler's increasingly desperate attempts to negotiate immunity by revealing his complete network and all foreign contacts only provided federal prosecutors with additional evidence for treason charges that could potentially result in execution. His detailed confessions systematically implicated corrupt senators, Defense Department officials, and international arms dealers who'd facilitated the spy ring for years while receiving substantial payments. The comprehensive investigation revealed that classified technology Tyler had illegally sold was being actively used to plan imminent attacks on American targets both overseas and domestically. Enemy operatives had purchased detailed security protocols for major naval facilities, strategic Air Force bases, and sensitive nuclear installations across the United States. Foreign intelligence services possessed critical information that could guide precision attacks on America's most sensitive military locations and infrastructure. Robert Brennan's suicide attempt while in federal custody shocked experienced investigators who'd previously considered him a cooperative witness willing to testify against his son. The extreme psychological pressure of discovering his son's systematic betrayal and his own unwitting complicity in endangering American lives pushed the older man to a complete mental breakdown. He survived the attempt, but required intensive psychiatric hospitalization while continuing to provide crucial testimony. My sworn testimony via secure video link to congressional committees revealed 3 complete years of meticulous evidence gathering that documented every aspect of the extensive criminal conspiracy. Senators praised my courage and patriotism while demanding systematic changes to prevent future penetration of defense contractors by hostile intelligence services operating with foreign government support. The scope of foreign intelligence operations was absolutely staggering to national security experts. Tyler's network had systematically compromised defense projects worth over $300 billion in development costs spread across multiple years. Foreign governments possessed American military technology that normally took decades to create and would require successful espionage operations lasting many years to acquire through traditional intelligence methods. Discovery that detailed attack plans included targeting NSA facilities and critical military bases forced President Thompson to personally elevate the case to his daily security briefings in the Oval Office. The president personally ordered expanded resources for prosecution and comprehensive prevention of similar future operations that could threaten American national security. But the most shocking revelation came when Agent Park called me to a secure meeting and calmly explained that he'd been working as a double agent for foreign intelligence services throughout my entire 3-year investigation. The safe house location leaks hadn't been security failures or accidents. They'd been deliberate attempts to eliminate me while preserving Tyler's network for continued exploitation by hostile foreign governments. David Park had been systematically feeding detailed information to Tyler's foreign contacts while pretending to protect me and build a case against the criminals. Every detail about my evidence, my exact location, my testimony schedule, and my family's protective arrangements had been shared with the international criminals who were actively trying to kill me. The man I'd trusted with my life was actually coordinating efforts to murder me. The betrayal was so complete and devastating that I seriously questioned whether anyone in the federal government could be trusted to protect witnesses or successfully prosecute international criminals. How many other dedicated NSA contractors had died because their supposed handlers were actually working for foreign intelligence services and facilitating their murders? International cooperation between American and Allied intelligence agencies began systematically dismantling Tyler's network across multiple continents through coordinated operations. British, Canadian, and Australian intelligence services provided crucial assistance in tracking foreign operatives and recovering stolen classified technology before it could be used against Western military forces in ongoing operations. Advanced forensic analysis of Tyler's communications revealed the specific identities of foreign intelligence officers who'd been coordinating extensive espionage operations against American defense contractors for over a decade. The spy ring extended far beyond Tyler's individual crimes. It represented a systematic assault on American national security by multiple hostile foreign governments working together. My isolation in a maximum security federal facility became a strange combination of necessary safety and psychological imprisonment that tested my mental stability daily. 24-hour protection from double agents and foreign assassins came with complete separation from any semblance of normal life or human contact. I spent months in windowless rooms reviewing extensive evidence and preparing detailed testimony while seriously wondering if I'd ever experience freedom again or see my family. Tyler's expensive defense team attempted every possible legal maneuver to avoid prosecution and the potential death penalty. His attorneys claimed diplomatic immunity through foreign connections, argued mental incompetence due to gambling addiction, and desperately suggested he was an unwitting victim of sophisticated foreign manipulation. Federal prosecutors systematically destroyed each desperate argument with overwhelming evidence of Tyler's voluntary participation in espionage. The NSA laptop contained 3 complete years of recorded conversations, detailed financial transfers, assassination plans, and comprehensive documentation of Tyler's voluntary participation in espionage activities against American interests. His own voice, describing American soldiers as acceptable casualties while planning attacks on military bases, completely eliminated any possibility of claiming innocent involvement or foreign coercion. Robert Brennan's continued cooperation with federal authorities provided crucial testimony about Tyler's systematic manipulation of family business relationships to facilitate extensive espionage operations over multiple years. The older man's detailed confession about his son's systematic betrayal became the foundation for treason charges that could potentially result in execution under federal law. International manhunts for escaped foreign operatives and remaining stolen intelligence continued across 4 continents through coordinated law enforcement efforts. Carlos Mendez was captured at a Panamanian airport attempting to board a flight to Iran with encrypted drives containing classified American submarine technology. His arrest led to additional charges against Tyler for conspiracy to commit acts of war. Media interviews with my disguised identity gradually transformed me into a national hero representing ordinary Americans who risk everything to protect democracy and national security. Television appearances and newspaper stories emphasized my military service and patriotic duty, while carefully concealing specific operational details that might compromise ongoing intelligence operations. Death threats against my family members in Phoenix and Denver forced them into comprehensive protective custody, completely destroying their normal lives, just as mine had been disrupted. My sister lost her job, my elderly parents couldn't leave their house, and my teenage nephew missed an entire semester of high school because of serious security concerns about their safety. Tyler's courtroom behavior during preliminary hearings revealed a man completely detached from reality and the seriousness of his situation. He interrupted legal proceedings, threatened federal prosecutors, and claimed he deserved medals rather than prosecution for his supposed business activities that had generated substantial profits. His arrogance and complete lack of remorse convinced even sympathetic observers that he posed a permanent danger to national security. Foreign payments totaling exactly $47 million over 3 years proved conclusively that Tyler's espionage wasn't motivated by ideology, coercion, or patriotic beliefs. It was purely criminal enterprise driven by greed and enabled by family wealth that made him feel immune from legal consequences. But the case took on even greater significance when President Thompson's national security briefing revealed that Tyler's intelligence sales had enabled foreign operatives to infiltrate White House communication systems and monitor presidential conversations. The president personally ordered prosecution under treason charges, making Tyler's case a matter of presidential priority and national importance. Director James Morrison from the NSA testified before Congress that Tyler's network represented the most damaging security breach since the Cold War era. Foreign intelligence services had obtained classified technology that normally required decades of successful espionage operations to acquire through traditional intelligence gathering methods. Senator Elizabeth Harper chaired congressional hearings that revealed systematic failures in contractor oversight that had allowed Tyler's network to operate undetected for years while stealing billions of dollars worth of classified technology. Her committee's comprehensive recommendations for enhanced security protocols became federal law within months of my testimony. Attorney Rachel Adams led the federal prosecution team with relentless preparation and presentation of evidence that left Tyler's expensive defense attorneys with no viable strategy for acquittal. Her systematic destruction of every excuse and explanation Tyler offered became a masterclass in prosecuting complex espionage cases. The discovery that Tyler's foreign buyers were planning to use stolen intelligence for coordinated attacks on American targets transformed his case from financial crime to attempted mass murder of military personnel. Evidence of specific plans to target naval facilities and Air Force installations elevated charges to include conspiracy to commit terrorism. Tyler's attempt to negotiate classified information for reduced sentences was immediately rejected by federal courts, who recognized that any deal would reward espionage while encouraging future traitors to view selling military secrets as a business transaction with negotiable penalties. Advanced psychological evaluation revealed that Tyler showed absolutely no remorse for his actions and continued to believe that his wealth and family connections would ultimately protect him from serious consequences. Expert testimony confirmed that he posed a permanent threat to national security if ever released from custody. The federal trial began in a heavily fortified courthouse surrounded by military security and completely closed to public observation due to extensive classified evidence requirements. I testified via secure video connection from an undisclosed location, but my words reached Tyler directly as he sat at the defendant's table wearing orange prison clothing and heavy restraints that emphasized his dangerous status. Tyler's violent courtroom outbursts during my testimony revealed a man who still believed his family wealth and extensive political connections would ultimately protect him from serious consequences. He screamed objections at federal judges, accused me of fabricating evidence for personal gain, and demanded to know why a nobody employee was systematically destroying his life over routine business decisions that generated substantial profits. His attorney's cross-examination attempts to intimidate me failed completely because I'd spent 3 years systematically documenting every single criminal act he'd committed against American interests. When his lawyer asked about my motives for investigating him, I explained that protecting American military personnel from foreign enemies wasn't a personal vendetta. It was my sworn duty as a former soldier who'd taken an oath to defend the Constitution. Robert Brennan's testimony against his own son provided devastating evidence about Tyler's systematic manipulation of family relationships to facilitate extensive espionage operations over multiple years. The older man's tearful confession about enabling his son's betrayal of American national security interests moved several jury members to tears and eliminated any remaining sympathy for Tyler. Tyler's defense team attempted to present evidence of mental incompetence due to gambling addiction and family pressure, but federal prosecutors demonstrated that his espionage activities required sophisticated planning, international coordination, and detailed understanding of classified technology systems that completely contradicted claims of impaired judgment. Discovery that Tyler had attempted to murder his own father to prevent damaging testimony shocked even experienced federal prosecutors who'd seen extensive criminal behavior. Intercepted phone calls revealed Tyler ordering hired killers to eliminate Robert Brennan while he was hospitalized under protective custody, proving his willingness to kill family members to protect his criminal enterprise. Foreign operatives arrested at international airports while attempting to flee with remaining stolen data provided additional evidence of Tyler's ongoing coordination with hostile intelligence services. Carlos Mendez's confession about planned attacks using Tyler's classified information eliminated any remaining doubt about the scope of his betrayal and its potential consequences. The emotional peak of my testimony came when I described watching American soldiers die in Afghanistan while knowing that enemies possessed our military secrets because of traitors like Tyler. My voice broke as I explained how his actions dishonored every service member who'd sacrificed their lives, protecting our country from foreign enemies. Tyler's final attempt to claim he was conducting legitimate business transactions collapsed when prosecutors played recorded conversations of him explicitly acknowledging that foreign buyers planned to use American military technology against American targets. His own words convicted him of treason more effectively than any witness testimony could accomplish. Jury deliberation lasted only 43 minutes before returning guilty verdicts on all 17 felony charges, including espionage, treason, conspiracy to commit murder, and conspiracy to commit acts of war against the United States. The speed of their decision reflected the overwhelming evidence of Tyler's guilt and the seriousness of his crimes. During sentencing hearings, victims of compromised military operations testified about how Tyler's intelligence sales had resulted in successful enemy attacks that killed American soldiers overseas. Family members described losing sons, daughters, husbands, and wives because classified technology had been sold to hostile forces planning attacks on American personnel. Robert Brennan's tearful apology to military families affected by his son's crimes provided closure for some victims, but couldn't restore lives lost due to Tyler's systematic betrayal. His cooperation with federal investigations had helped prevent additional attacks, but couldn't undo the damage already caused to American military operations. The courtroom confrontation reached its climax when Tyler delivered a final speech attempting to justify his actions as legitimate business decisions in a global economy that didn't recognize national boundaries. His complete lack of remorse for causing American deaths and his continued belief that he'd done nothing seriously wrong demonstrated the depth of his moral corruption. But Tyler's courtroom confession about keeping copies of classified information as insurance against prosecution backfired spectacularly when federal agents realized his admission revealed the location of his final hidden assets and remaining foreign contacts. His attempt to threaten the court with additional security breaches actually provided investigators with evidence to complete their case against his entire network. Judge Margaret Foster's sentencing statement emphasized that Tyler's crimes represented more than financial theft. They constituted acts of war against the United States that had resulted in American military deaths and compromised national security for decades to come. Judge Margaret Foster sentenced Tyler Brennan to life imprisonment without possibility of parole under the Espionage Act, making him the youngest person in American history to receive such severe punishment for treason against the United States. His additional sentences for conspiracy to commit murder and acts of war ensured he would never again threaten national security or harm innocent people. Robert Brennan received 25 years in federal prison despite his extensive cooperation against his son and the broader criminal network. His testimony had been crucial in dismantling Tyler's organization and preventing additional attacks, but couldn't excuse his years of enabling espionage activities that directly cost American lives overseas and compromised ongoing military operations. The Congressional Medal of Freedom ceremony where President Thompson honored my service felt surreal after months of isolation in protective custody. Standing in the White House East Room while receiving America's highest civilian honor represented the complete opposite of my isolated existence in windowless federal safe houses, where I'd wondered if I'd ever experience freedom again. Financial compensation from the government's comprehensive whistleblower protection program provided enough money to start a completely new life anywhere in the country, but couldn't restore the relationships and experiences that federal protection had cost me and my family. My relatives had suffered tremendously, and normal life remained impossible due to ongoing security concerns about remaining foreign operatives. All foreign operatives involved in Tyler's extensive network were systematically captured through international cooperation between American and allied intelligence services. Carlos Mendez received 40 years in federal prison without parole, while his associates faced similar sentences for espionage and conspiracy to commit terrorism against American targets, both overseas and domestically. Military operations security was comprehensively restored through improved contractor oversight systems that prevented similar future penetration by hostile intelligence services. New protocols required continuous monitoring of personnel with access to classified information, making Tyler's type of operation virtually impossible to conduct undetected for extended periods. My decision to become an instructor at the NSA training facility in Maryland allowed me to share my experience with future intelligence officers while contributing to national security in a more direct way than I'd ever imagined possible. Teaching others to identify and prevent espionage operations gave my painful experience meaning, purpose, and lasting value for protecting America. Reconciliation with family members after the protection program ended required months of rebuilding relationships that security concerns had severely damaged. My sister forgave the major disruption to her life and career, but my teenage nephew struggled with missing crucial high school experiences due to threats against our family from international criminals. Marriage to Agent Sarah Mitchell, whom I met during the investigation process, provided stability and companionship with someone who understood the serious sacrifices required for protecting national security. Our shared experience of federal service created a strong foundation for building a new life together while maintaining our commitment to serving our country. The scholarship fund I established using government compensation helps military intelligence education programs train future officers to protect American secrets from foreign espionage attempts. Supporting young people entering intelligence careers ensures that Tyler's betrayal ultimately contributed to strengthening rather than weakening our national defenses against foreign threats. Tyler's former accomplices received lengthy federal prison sentences that completely dismantled the entire espionage network he'd created over multiple years. Janet Walsh got 15 years for security clearance fraud, while Marcus Rivera received 12 years for deliberately disabling protective protocols that enabled foreign access to classified systems. International cooperation improvements in preventing classified information theft became a lasting legacy of my case that continues protecting American interests. New treaties and information sharing agreements between allied intelligence services help identify and stop espionage operations before they can cause serious damage to military capabilities. The most meaningful resolution came when I started training new NSA contractors at our headquarters facility in Maryland. Sharing my story as an example of the importance of vigilance and moral courage in protecting America's secrets helps prepare others to recognize and report suspicious activities before they can threaten national security. Looking back on everything that happened, I've learned that ordinary people with extraordinary integrity can make profound differences when they refuse to stay silent about injustice they witness. Courage to do the right thing, even when facing seemingly impossible odds and personal danger, can expose corruption and protect the democracy we all depend on for our freedom. Tyler thought he was untouchable because of substantial wealth and family connections, but he discovered that betraying your country carries consequences that no amount of money or political influence can prevent. Justice may take time to arrive, but it finds traitors eventually and holds them accountable for their crimes against America. My final lesson for anyone facing similar situations is simple. When you know something is wrong, speak up, regardless of personal cost to yourself or your family. The temporary safety of staying quiet never justifies allowing evil to continue unchallenged when innocent lives are at stake. Democracy depends on citizens who choose courage over comfort when their country needs them most. The comprehensive reforms implemented after Tyler's case have strengthened American national security significantly and permanently. Enhanced contractor oversight, improved whistleblower protections, and international intelligence cooperation have made it much more difficult for hostile forces to penetrate our defense systems through espionage operations. Brad Hutchinson and his mercenary team received life sentences for conspiracy to commit murder and treason against the United States. Their recruitment by foreign intelligence services to eliminate American witnesses represented a new type of threat that required specialized counterintelligence responses and enhanced protection protocols. Agent David Park's exposure as a double agent led to comprehensive security reviews within the NSA and other intelligence agencies that identified additional security vulnerabilities. His betrayal had compromised multiple operations over several years, but his arrest prevented additional damage to national security and protected other endangered personnel from assassination. The White House communications system compromised by Tyler's intelligence sales was completely rebuilt, with enhanced security protocols that prevented future foreign penetration attempts. The cost of replacing compromised systems exceeded $2 billion, but protecting presidential communications was worth any expense to maintain national security. Congressional legislation inspired by my case created stronger penalties for espionage and improved protections for national security whistleblowers who risk their lives to protect America. The new laws make it easier for federal employees and contractors to report suspicious activities without fear of retaliation or inadequate government protection. Tyler's conviction sent a clear message to potential traitors that wealth and family connections cannot protect anyone who betrays American national security interests for personal profit. His life sentence without parole demonstrates that espionage carries consequences severe enough to deter others from similar crimes against their country. Today, I wake up each morning knowing that my decision to investigate Tyler's suspicious activities helped protect countless American lives and prevented foreign attacks that could have killed thousands of innocent people. The personal costs were enormous, but the alternative, staying silent while traitors sold our military secrets, was absolutely unthinkable for someone who'd sworn to defend America. Have you ever discovered something wrong at your workplace or in your community that made you question whether speaking up was worth the personal risk? I'd love to hear about your experiences with standing up for what's right in the comments below. If this story inspired you to think differently about courage and integrity, please like this video and subscribe for more stories about ordinary people making extraordinary differences. Share this with anyone who might need encouragement to do the right thing when facing difficult choices. Thank you so much for listening, and remember that your voice matters more than you might realize in protecting the values we all cherish.